next. Rabbit plays Daddy.
Daddy?
And guess who's here to help? Winnie the Pooh, ABC, next.
Welcome, one and all, to another very special guest choice episode of Escape from Walt Disney, the podcast where we review movies, TV shows, and short films available on Disney Plus, usually chosen completely at random. I am your host, Tony Goldmark. Joining us today via Zoom, all the way from Los Angeles, California, Renie Rivas.
Ahoy, hoy.
All the way from Burbank, California, Chris Nebergall.
Yes.
And also all the way from Burbank, California, the guest choice guest of honor herself, Madeline Maye.
Hi, thank you for intro.
And like I said, this episode is a guest choice episode.
Be our guest.
Choice.
Be our guest.
Choice.
Put our service to the test.
Choice. In which we temporarily bypass the randomizer and watch what one of my guests wants us to watch. In this case, the very awesome Madeline Maye. Madeline, as you know, after you've been on this show 10 times or more, as you have, you get one guest choice option, and you will only ever get one guest choice option. You've chosen this week to use it, and you've chosen to make us watch The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Season 1, Episode 4, Find Her, Keep Her. So, of course, now, Madeline, the question must be, why The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Season 1, Episode 4, Find Her, Keep Her?
Well, I feel like I've gotten kind of a reputation on your program of not loving some classic programs, let's say. I think even
I don't know what you're talking about, Madeline Maye. You always love absolutely everything I force you to watch. You're never the slightest bit snarky or cynical about any of it.
I've never gotten anyone in trouble on Twitter over...
Meanwhile, Luke is like Penny in The Critic going, "You didn't like Encanto, you're mean!"
I guess I kind of got my start being this from way back in the day with you on the Avengers stuff.
Yeah, pre-transition even.
Oh my, yeah, I was a whole ass other gender and people hated me.
On the Infinity War, one movie later, Infinity War obviously had that motherfucker of a cliffhanger at the end, so we're all feeling mixed, and you're the only person in the room who just flat out said, I really didn't like this movie.
I always try to stress, though, that these are my honest, real opinions.
Yeah.
When people call me a hater, I do get a little defensive because I really do love media. I love film. I love animation. So when I say I don't like Encanto, I have my reasons.
Yeah, of course.
I also understand that a lot of the things I have talked about have been cherished favorites of a lot of people. So I figured today, with my guest pick, I would show my ass figuratively and literally.
No, literally's for OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's friendlier cat wife at OnlyFans. Oh my fucking Christ. You can tell I'm nervous because I am actually picking something I am extremely passionate about and love to show what to me is a very important piece of media.
And we should also state, you haven't hated everything we've covered. I mean,
yes, thank you.
On our last episode, you gave a Disney Plus to Once Upon a Time, for God's sake.
I did give that a plus.
And you liked 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Chris Nebergall's guest choice. And you liked Muppets Haunted Mansion, so you're not just a hater, clearly.
I also hated White Wilderness, which is just a good thing to do.
Well, we all hated White Wilderness.
You like the animals in White Wilderness.
I hate the right things, too, sometimes.
And you hated Go Figure and The Adventures of Huck Finn and 'Twas the Night.
You convinced everyone else to hate Huck Finn.
That is true. I really got to stress, this cartoon we're about to watch is, for me, one of the most important things I've ever experienced. All of us have our favorite things of all time, but a lot of us have things that go even above that, beyond just our favorite things ever. And they kind of reach this more mystical, almost spiritual status where it becomes almost untouchable in our minds. For me, the song Surf's Up by the Beach Boys is another example of something that's beyond favorite to like a completely different level.
The music hall, the costly bow, the music, all is lost for now to a muted trumpeter's swan. Colonnaded ruins
I think it's the most beautiful song ever made. And then there's also stuff like the video game character Klonoa, which is just more of a personal, nostalgic thing, but I love that character and will also not hear slander said about that character. And this cartoon I've picked, Finder Keeper, is another one of those things for me where I do feel like my life is different because I watch this. I've seen it 100 times or more. I watch it multiple times a year. I first saw it when I was a kid. And I was so blown away that when Disney Plus was first announced, I looked through what they were bringing and I saw that they were bringing New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And that's why I bought a subscription to Disney Plus, because this show is so hard to find. There's no DVDs of New Adventures. You have to go through like scattered video cassettes, a couple of movie compilation DVDs, a really bad torrent. Torrent people, get your act together. So when it came out on Disney Plus, this was the only way to really watch the show.
Wow.
I seriously bought a compilation Winnie the Pooh DVD movie off Amazon because it had this episode right there at the end.
Cool.
That's how much I love this thing.
And a surprise Christmas visit from a special friend.
Cassie!
Yahoo! Makes this the best Christmas ever.
I also would say the whole show is amazing. This is absolutely going to be controversial, but I do think New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is the best of the Disney afternoon block.
Woo.
Yeah, I know, that's strong.
Well, that is quite a feat because technically it was never on the Disney afternoon block.
Oh, it wasn't?
It's easy to get it confused because it was produced by Walt Disney Television Animation, which also produced all the Disney afternoon shows at around the same time as the initial block of the Disney afternoon shows. This was their big show for 1988, in between DuckTales in 87 and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers in 89. But unlike those two shows, it was not produced for syndication on the Disney afternoon. It was specifically produced for ABC Saturday morning, even though the show was also previewed months earlier on the Disney Channel and, of course, later reran on the Disney Channel and Toon Disney, but never made the leap to the Disney afternoon.
That is so interesting.
You could tell it definitely had the same aesthetics as the Disney afternoon shows. If I were to venture a guess as to why it didn't make the cut, I'd say maybe the execs in charge reasoned, Disney Afternoon is more for older kids, like 7 to 10, and this is more kind of a preschool show.
See, I would disagree so much with that statement.
Well, I know. Fucking executive brains going, oh, cute bear, it must be for preschoolers.
Well, it's not an action show. I think that's the difference.
Or maybe the rationalization was, well, we already have gummy bears on Disney Afternoon.
Too many bears, yeah.
Too many bears. Although they did also have DuckTales and Darkwing Duck on the Disney Afternoon at the same time, so they weren't concerned about too many ducks.
Duck Duck Bear was my favorite game.
My ultimate point is that if we combine all of those 80s
sure.
animations together, you can put the frickin' Wuzzles or whatever that, what was that?
Oh, the Wuzzles, yes.
The Wuzzles, yeah, the Chimera horror.
The Wuzzles predated Gummy Bears even. That was Walt Disney Television Animation's very first series. It was basically a Care Bears ripoff where the premise is every character is a hybrid between two animals.
It's like a lion bee. I remember that.
Was that a Cronenberg film?
Yes.
I played a short-lived real-time strategy game that used that premise called Impossible Creatures.
There'll be one animal that's like half hippopotamus, half camel or some shit.
Terrifying.
Come to the wonderful land of Oz and meet the lovable Wuzzle.
Who are you?
A Wuzzle.
No, a Wuzzle. Name's Hippopotamus. I'm part hopping rabbit, part happy hippo, and that book's about me.
It lasted 13 episodes and was never heard from again.
Combining all this stuff together, I would rank New Adventures as the best. If you haven't watched the series on Disney Plus, I highly recommend it.
I haven't watched the series on Disney Plus, but I did definitely watch this show a lot when I was a kid, and yeah, I completely agree. It's primo shit. When Michael Eisner took over Disney in 1984, one of his big questions was, why aren't we doing Saturday morning animation shows? We're Disney. We're the animation kings. There's so much money to be made in Saturday morning cartoons. Why aren't we doing it? And he was told, well, most Saturday morning cartoons are kind of shitty because they have to produce 22 minutes of animation a week, and people have come to expect certain quality standards from Disney. And Eisner was convinced that a compromise could be reached, that they could pour more money than their competitors into to making these cartoons, and they could produce something that wouldn't be as fancy looking as the animated features, but still at a much higher quality level than the Hanna-Barbera Filmation schlock that was ruling the day at the time.
That's a pretty low bar to clear.
True, but
That's what was so brilliant about those 80s Disney animation shows. They were bringing high-quality animation back to television, which hadn't existed for a long time. Besides the crap Hanna-Barbera was doing in the 70s and 80s, you had He-Man and Transformers.
We at one point went down a rabbit hole of the opening sequence of every Hanna-Barbera show that has been completely forgotten.
Oh my god.
It is amazing how many times they did Scooby-Doo. Like the same idea as Scooby-Doo, but
And
with
just
a
the
different
same
mascot.
cells. The same cells, the same background characters.
It's incredible.
Fucking Jabberjaw.
Jabberjaw is just the most well-known. We found like 7 others.
Oh god.
Speed Buggy, the talking car, that was another one.
It was a bit of a leap at the time to make a whole series out of Winnie the Pooh, because up to that point, all the Disney TV series were either original ideas or based on pre-existing characters that hadn't quite had their time in the limelight yet. Gummy Bears was based off of candy, ostensibly, but they built a whole mythos around it. Wuzzles was completely original, and one of the mandates for DuckTales was that Donald exists in this universe, but we can't make him the main character. Because if this show doesn't work, that'll dilute the value of Donald Duck as a character, so we gotta focus it on Scrooge McDuck and the nephews.
Even though Donald features heavily in the new DuckTales, they had a similar moratorium on Mickey. They could not use Mickey in the new DuckTales.
And they were afraid to do a Mickey show for a while. It took them until 1992 to make a show about Goofy, Goof Shrew.
Yeah.
For a while, they were afraid to fuck with the main stable of characters, but Winnie the Pooh was kind of an exception, and I think the reason for that was Winnie the Pooh had always straddled the line between shorts and features.
Yes.
Originally, Walt had wanted to develop a Winnie the Pooh feature film, and literally just because of budget cuts, he couldn't afford to make both a Winnie the Pooh movie and the Jungle Book at the time, so he chose the Jungle Book and reasoned, well, Winnie the Pooh is so episodic anyway, let's just make that a series of 25-minute shorts, and that'll give the animators something to do in between features. The first Winnie the Pooh short, Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, came out in '66 and was the only one to be released in Walt's lifetime. They followed that with Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day in '68 and Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2 in '74, and then those 3 shorts were combined into the feature film The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh in 1977. So because he straddled that line, I think they thought, well, there's nothing inherently wrong with making more Pooh adventures. That sounds so wrong when you just say Pooh Adventures.
That joke is as old as time itself.
Yeah.
What was A.A. Milne thinking?
Why was Tigger in the toilet? Like, we've all heard this like a million times.
Other countries have words that don't hit our ear the same way. Like, a lot of countries still say puss and pussy for cats.
Right, of course.
Maybe Winnie the Pooh didn't have quite the same juvenile giggle reaction.
Excuse me, there is an H at the end of the name. It's not even comparable.
Also, A.A. Milne didn't even come up with that name. Pooh was the name of a swan at the zoo.
Right.
A.A. Milne and Christopher Robin liked to visit, and Winnie was a bear.
Named Winnie, I think, because the bear came from Winnipeg.
Yes.
Which is why at Epcot, Pooh is at the Canada Pavilion, dressed as a Mountie.
Interesting.
Because I guess they figured, well, we have Alice and Mary Poppins for the UK Pavilion. We don't really have any Canadian characters, so, fuck it, Winnie the Pooh. Here's the tangential connection there.
And only Tony Goldmark will know.
Well, technically still British.
Yeah,
true.
They do worship the Queen, those disgusting Canadians.
Obviously, the animation quality is different from those shorts. I guess it's up to personal taste which one is better, because the New Adventures animation is a lot less detailed because they had to crank it out so fast, but also a little bit smoother because in the 60s and 70s, the animators were working with the xerography technique, which hadn't been refined to the point where it was practically seamless, so you could see a lot of the animators' rough pencil markings over the finished drawing.
Right.
Yeah, that pretty much characterizes the whole Disney quote-unquote Dark Ages period. All those films look like that.
The What Would Walt Have Done era. And it's a matter of personal taste. I personally really like that style, but I can understand why someone wouldn't, because the various pencil scratches do get a bit distracting after a while.
I guess for me, I don't think it's particularly fair to compare a television Saturday morning cartoons animation to film.
Right.
Animation, I love them both.
Sure.
I am a huge Winnie the Pooh fan, just in general. I love the whole series. Every time I go to Disneyland, I go on the ride. It's a requirement.
Well, now it's my turn to be a hater. I really don't like that ride.
You know what? You are allowed to be wrong on your own podcast. If this was my podcast, I would cut the mic right here.
I have had recently the distinct pleasure of going on the Japanese version, Pooh's Honey Hunt
Pooh's
at
Honey
Tokyo
Hunt.
Disneyland,
What?
which was kind of the original trackless dark ride.
Yes.
After you've been on that one, it's like, oh, damn, they could all be this one.
Yeah.
I find the one at Disneyland and the one at Magic Kingdom to be charming, traditional Disney dark rides, but that one in Tokyo really blows you away.
They're all full of Winnie the Pooh stuff, so naturally they're cute. But yeah, from what I've heard, Pooh's Honey Hunt makes the American Pooh rides look like, well, Pooh.
Hey, I want to. I will go on anything with Winnie the Pooh.
But even compared to the Florida Winnie the Pooh ride, I think the California one is kind of lackluster.
Well, the Florida one has more motion, obviously.
Right.
They also had a larger show building to cram it into because the Florida one, of course, sits in the old Mr. Toad's Wild Ride building, which was built for a dark ride. The California one is crammed into the old Country Bear Hall,
Right.
which has been crushed.
Which they closed down 10 months before the movie came out. I will never fucking get over how dumb that was.
Fitting something into a space that was never designed for it. I think they did admirably, given the space they had. Much better, honestly, than Universal did trying to fit Revenge of the Mummy into E.T.'s old building, for example.
Yeah, Universal just kind of gave up and said, it's some glow-in-the-dark shit, and then the ride ends abruptly. There, Mummy Ride.
And this is where I do have to reiterate that this is my version of everyone's favorite thing that they always yell at me about. So I am fully going to admit that, yeah, I love the Winnie the Pooh ride because it has Winnie the Pooh. You could just have me in a dark ride and just flash pictures of Tigger and Rabbit, and I would consider that a great time. Money well spent.
As if you and Luke needed more reasons to be at odds with each other.
I know we hate each other. I forgot that we're enemies.
On one episode of Some Jerk with a Camera, Luke referred to the ride as Winnie the Pooh's pointless circle of nothing.
How Nietzsche.
There's no turning back now, because what are you gonna do? Come all the way to the entrance of the ride and then be, oh, I know, I'm gonna go ride Winnie the Pooh's pointless circle of nothing.
Wow,
You're visualizing your revenge right now, I can tell.
Now, Pointless Circle of Nothing is a moniker I would apply to Frozen Ever After at Epcot.
I want to just tell Lukeski, okay? I will see you Sunday night in the cage. No holds barred.
How do you know about the cage?
I think I invented the cage. Honestly, I think I built it myself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we subcontracted you for it.
Compared to the other programming that was going on around the same time, New Adventures, I think, was leaps and bounds better than most of the other stuff that was on television. And when you watch it, you are kind of amazed by how smooth, like you said, a lot of the animation is, how stylized everything is. There's a real sense of intent and purpose with everything that's being done. You could tell they wanted this to look really good, and I do think it shines. And also, the stories and things that the characters were dealing with, I felt were so much more mature and interesting than the enemy of the week formula that a lot of the other programs are
That
going.
is the thing about Winnie the Pooh, is there's no real bad guy. Or if there is, it's always revealed to not really have been a bad guy after all. Like in Pooh's Heffalump movie, they realized,
Yeah.
the Heffalumps are nice, actually.
Yeah.
Or even in the Heffalumps and Woozles sequence, that's all a dream.
You get a couple of goofier bad guys, like a Heffalump and Woozle reoccurring villain duo in the show.
Right, I remember them.
All right, fluff bags. We said we'd be back to steal your honey, and here we are. So trot it all out.
But generally, you really didn't get these enemy arcs. You really had these characters dealing with more complicated problems that I feel like we can all relate to. And I think that goes into this episode we're about to watch, which is so beautiful that I actually even wrote a song about it.
Oh.
Tony, I actually think you heard the song the one time you saw my old band play.
I think you're right. I think I did.
A lot of people said it was one of the best songs of the band, which I was really flattered by because I did write about this really personal cartoon for me. And I'm really excited to share and talk about it with you all, because this is one of my favorite things in the world.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting to know you very well in a short amount of time.
Oh, this is all you need to know about me, is this cartoon.
Great.
That's not even exaggeration.
High five. It's like speed dating, but for friends.
Yeah. Oh my God. Speed friending. Yeah.
Speed friending.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen this particular episode before. It's possible I did, because I watched this show a lot as a kid, but I don't think I ever saw every episode. But I will say, a couple of people over the years have specifically requested this episode for Patreon Request Month.
Oh, interesting.
Obviously, it never got picked, otherwise it wouldn't be eligible today, but there does seem to be some genuine love for this episode in particular, and quite a bit of it.
Get ready to cry, or I will cry at least. I've seen this 1,000 times and I cry every time.
Oh dear.
Madeline, I'm always ready.
Who's ready to cry?
Please enjoy this beautiful music, folks, and we will be right back with our thoughts on Madeline Maye's guest choice, The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Season 1, Episode 4, Find Her, Keep Her, right here on Escape from Walt Disney.
Come on home. See what's waiting for you. Waiting for you.
Okay, we just watched The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Season 1, Episode 4, Find Her, Keep Her. I'm not crying, you're crying. Oh my God.
It's good, right? It's so good.
I am different now. That affected me on a deep level. I have reverted to some sort of primal state.
Oh my
You triggered Tony's atavism.
There's little piles of shit all over my apartment. I have no idea if they're mine.
You're a bird. You're gone back to being
I
a...
think so. I think I've grown wings.
I'm pretty sure I shit myself the first time I watched this, too. That's very fair.
Well, here's the thing. This was not my first time watching this either. I definitely watched this when I was a kid. I think I even had a commercially released VHS tape with this episode on it. But this hit so much harder as an adult.
Yes.
There were a couple individual things I remembered. Like, I remembered there's a life that needs to be saved, and it's a carrot. Or the fucking parrot catch spoonerism.
I have a parrot catch. A carrot patch to plan.
Individual moments I remembered, but it all came flooding back to me.
I am so happy, Tony, that you had the reaction I wanted you to have to watching this. I am not objective about this episode at all. I love this episode more than is probably reasonable, but I do think it really is beautiful, and it's just so well made.
I had seen this episode maybe once, because I watched this show as a kid, but I hadn't remembered it really, and it's actually a very mature take on a very universal experience. The child is leaving the nest, and the parent doesn't want that.
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
Literally,
Yes.
yeah.
Birds have been a metaphor for that for centuries, and so Winnie the Pooh just literally does the metaphor.
Right on the nose, right on the beak, rather. But yeah, this is a very well-worn topic. It's Rabbit basically learning the exact same lesson that Albert Brooks' fish had to learn in Finding Nemo. Your kids have got to grow up someday. They gotta, literally in this case, leave the nest. It's a tale as old as time. It's been done so many times, but it's the way this episode does it.
Exactly.
That really knocks it out of the park and brings it to a whole new level.
Most of the time you see this story, it's just kind of framed as the kid is frustrated at the parent and the kid rejects the parent to a certain extent. But in this episode, Kessie doesn't behave resentfully toward Rabbit or angrily.
No.
She doesn't go through a snarky teen phase. She just wants to fly away, and he won't let her. And that makes her sad because she still wants him to be happy. And I thought the most impactful moment of the episode was when he's depressed because she's decided to fly away, and then she cries about it. He's letting her go, but she's just so sad that she has made him so sad. That's the most mature moment in the episode.
First off, incredible, brilliant decision to make this a full 22-minute episode instead of like a half of an episode.
I noticed that.
Like a lot of these are, because you need that extra time to really sit with these characters.
A lot of this show is 2 15s, right?
Yeah,
or 2
2
10-minute episodes.
ones.
This one, you really get to sit with what's going on. Like, you get to see Kessie as a baby learning all of these things, and you go from there to Kessie as an older kid.
A whole year passes within the episode.
An entire year, which begs the question, were other episodes happening in the meantime? Were they going off on other adventures?
It's very possible, and I think that's so brilliant too, how they use the seasons to show how much time has passed, having that circular poetry, it rhymes, of the 2 winters. We have really come full circle. I think a lot of the technical details and a lot of the storytelling beats, I think, are honestly masterful.
Oh, yeah.
They really spent a lot of time really trying to get every element of this right.
Some of the shots in this are just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh my God.
Watercolor background sometimes? Oh my God.
One thing that's very different about this series as opposed to the original Winnie the Pooh shorts, there are a lot more wacky, cartoony moments. Like, for example, the whole business with the flying door.
Yeah.
Where the wind flies the door off its hinges and it acts like a fucking wooden magic carpet, basically.
Yeah, there needs to be some kind of dynamism in a cartoon.
It's on Saturday morning, you know.
In Winnie the Pooh, that's always going to end up being flying through the air or falling from heights.
And of course, the end of the door scene is Tigger offering the punchline, "What do you know? Out of gas."
Love it. One of my favorite lines in the history of time is when Rabbit crashes into the house and Winnie the Pooh's like, "Are you all right?" And Rabbit's like, "No, I'm not all right, and I don't plan on being all right for a very long time." Damn, that's me every day.
That is a mood. That is a fucking mood.
This whole episode was the best use of Rabbit I've ever seen.
Such an underappreciated character.
And also unloved. I mean, you put him on a lineup, no one's going to go, "My favorite is Rabbit. I want a shirt with Rabbit."
Except for me. Rabbit is my favorite character, and it's partially because of this episode. That is one reason.
Was Rabbit your favorite character when you were a kid?
No, it was probably Tigger when I was a kid.
I can understand how Rabbit would become your favorite character after watching this, but if a kid says their favorite Winnie the Pooh character is Rabbit, send that kid to a therapist.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. The older I've gotten, the more I relate to Rabbit.
Yeah.
You know, you say you put him on a lineup, no one's going to pick him as the favorite, but he is a linchpin character because he is the straight man. He's the responsible one.
True.
He's the one who knows that everyone else is an idiot.
Honestly, there are times where I look at Rabbit and I do ask the age-old question, would estrogen have saved her? And I'm not sure yet, but it's very possible.
Rabbit is the closest thing that the Winnie the Pooh Disney franchise has to a recurring villain. He's not a villain, but he's often at odds with the other characters. He is the straight man who's put upon a lot, who a lot of the pain happens to. He's the most bitter character. He's often just kind of a dick. Let's be real about it.
The pain is always his comeuppance.
This is all T-girl excellence right here.
Right.
I'm only kind of joking because before I came out, I was very much the same way. I was so stressed and anxious. I was so picky and controlling of everything. I couldn't relax.
For what it's worth, Rabbit hates Encanto too.
Yeah, he
even
probably
more
does.
than you do.
He would.
Because there's like, they're not farming correctly or whatever the fuck he would say.
At one point or another in our lives, we all become Rabbit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
It's like they said in The Dark Knight, you either die a Tigger or live long enough to see yourself become Rabbit.
He's a necessary villain in a lot of episodes, but he also isn't evil because he does learn a lesson by the end of it.
You know, about a year ago, I live tweeted a direct-to-DVD release called Winnie the Pooh Springtime with Roo, which turned into, of all goddamn things, a riff on A Christmas Carol.
What the dickens? And I do mean Dickens is going on here.
Because it was Rabbit taking the Ebenezer Scrooge role and basically realizing, oh, I've ruined Easter for all these years. Watching that special, I remember thinking, okay, Rabbit's just kind of a villain in this. But even then, he does learn a lesson by the end of it. He goes through the Ebenezer Scrooge arc.
New Adventures is a great showcase. There's a lot of really good Rabbit episodes. But for the most part, he is kind of an also-ran. One of my many problems with the Christopher Robin live-action movie was that Rabbit's hardly in it at all.
Didn't they get one of the doctors to voice him?
It doesn't even sound like Rabbit. It just sounds like just nothing.
At the beginning of the episode, it's winter. Rabbit's carrot patch is covered with snow. And there's one carrot in the ground that Rabbit's desperately trying to save.
Classic Rabbit.
Which I didn't quite understand. I mean, it's one last carrot. Why not just pull it out of the ground?
That's Rabbit. That's kind of how he is.
Stubborn to the core.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rabbit's kind of treating the carrots like his children. He's a rabbit. Doesn't he grow them to eat them?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, because the carrots don't have their own opinions, and they will just sit there, and it's easier to take care of carrots.
Yeah, it's like that song Plant a Radish from the Fantastics.
Every turnip green, every kidney bean, every plant grows according to the plot. While with progeny, it's hodgepodgeny. For as soon as you think you know what kind you've got, it's what they're not.
He's characterized as a gardener who very much sees his garden as his whole raison d'etre.
Gardening, much like cooking, is a great way for control freaks to maintain the situation.
Yes.
They're not going to do something on their own. You're in charge. They're going to thrive if you're in charge. The recipe's going to come out if you do it right. It's all on you.
And I don't know how they do it, because I can't keep a houseplant alive to save my life.
Well, I think that's the metaphor, right?
Yeah.
You're raising a garden. You do have to put in a lot of time and effort to make
it's
that
all
happen.
nurture.
So they find a baby bird
Right.
who has blown away from the nest, or the nest has blown away. So she's trapped in the storm and desperately requires rescue. And Rabbit jumps to her rescue and ends up taking care of her, primarily because he doesn't trust Pooh, Tigger, and Piglet to take care of her.
Exactly.
And at first he can't stand it, but he feels a sense of obligation, and of course eventually he develops a strong parental bond with the bird just in time for her to grow up and learn to fly, which he tries as hard as possible to suppress because he doesn't want her to go.
Like we said, it is a classic trope, but what really sells it and what makes it one of my favorite things of all time is just how real it all feels.
Yeah.
Even though it's a cartoon, I relate so much to like every character in this cartoon. I remember an English teacher once told me that really good poems change as you get older. When you read a poem at 10, it's different from when you read it like at 20 or 30 or 50 or 60. And as somebody who has watched this cartoon at different times, from being a child to now, I have gone through that. There have been years where I really related to Kessie. There are years where I thought Rabbit was in the right, and there were years where I thought they were both in the right. And I just think that's what's so beautiful about this. You really do change who you're relating to depending on where you are in your own life.
I do still relate to Kessie more than I relate to Rabbit, but at the same time, you do see where Rabbit's coming from.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
He's going too far with it, but you kind of get it. And even when he does turn passive-aggressively semi-toxic towards her, like when he says, "You don't need me for anything anymore,"
Right.
getting a bit Jewish guilt trippy, let's be honest. But even then, Rabbit was traumatized, too, by Kessie's near brush with death.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about. And that is remarkable, too, because, and I'm not saying this is wrong, but so many of these types of stories just frame it from the kid's point of view. Just frame it from, oh, my parents are douchebags, they're fascist assholes, they're not letting me do what I want in life, fuck you, mom and dad. And this episode could have gone that direction in a G-rated Winnie the Pooh type of way, of course. But yeah, you're right. It's interesting that it didn't.
Kessie is never mean to Rabbit once in this entire episode.
And even when Rabbit realizes all hope is lost, Kessie's gonna fly off no matter what I do, he doesn't get angry. He just gets depressed. I know I talked about this on, of all goddamn movies, the Chicken Little episode, when we talked about the characterization of Buck Cluck. Buck Cluck's not outwardly abusive, but he's depressed, and his depression kind of metastasizes into a more subtle form of abuse.
I forgot that guy's name was Buck Cluck.
Buck likes to cluck.
And we do see a little bit of that here. We see how just the act of Rabbit being sad makes Kessie sad.
I think for kids, it could be relatable in a way they don't fully understand.
Yeah.
As a child, you may experience a strained relationship with a parent, and until you're older, you don't really understand what the emotional dynamic is. You just know that it sucks.
Yeah.
And you want it to be better somehow. It's really quite mature and uncommonly depicted stuff to throw at a kid, but in a way that's totally relatable. You know, it's not like the traumatizing Bambi's mom dying thing.
Of course,
right.
Oh, are kids ready for that? But this is just their life. This is what they're going to experience.
That's what I really like about this. It never feels cheap.
One thing that kind of surprised me about this is not only does it have these emotional depths, but they kind of sneak up on you.
Yes.
The episode doesn't really telegraph itself as a very special episode.
No.
For the first 5 minutes of this, again, having only remembered some of the jokes from when I saw it as a kid, I was thinking, well, it's not bad, but I'm not sure why Madeline picked this. It's just kind of, oh, Rabbit has to look after a baby, and oh no, the baby bottle he's boiling is blown up into a balloon and popped.
Yeah.
I think speaking to
I
that...
do love those moments, too. I just want to say.
The emotional stuff is very much inserted subtly into other stuff. Sometimes they even mix tones in a way that I didn't think would be possible. There's a scene in this that really impresses me where they're trying to teach Kessie to fly behind Rabbit's back. And of course, they're going for the Tigger method of a gigantic rubber band. And Pooh's got aviator goggles on.
The
and
Tigger method,
They're going to slingshot her into the sky. Rabbit interrupts the whole thing. He steps into the danger zone of the rubber band.
Yep.
And the whole time, you know that rubber band is going to go off with him in it like Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, we've seen cartoons before.
He's standing in the rubber band at full tension, and then he and Kessie have an emotional conversation.
I just have to fly. It means everything to me.
Does it mean more than I do?
Yeah.
And it's one of the most intense emotional beats in the episode, and you forget for a second that he's standing in a rubber band at full tension, and after that moment is done, the pressure is released, literally, by Tigger letting go of the rubber band and Rabbit flying off into the sky.
And Tigger is straining his voice, and you think he's about to say, Rabbit, could you wrap things up? But he's actually saying, can't you give the kid a chance?
Yeah.
Even Tigger has forgotten that he's holding this rubber band that he's straining against.
But it's such a brilliant and subtle mixture of tones. I thought the rubber band being there would be a distraction from anything emotional that they did, but it doesn't. The emotion moment pulls you out of the rubber band, and then you remember it's there just in time to undermine your sadness.
The best example of this, and probably the most harrowing moment in the entire episode, is when the tree falls in the middle of the episode.
Tigger's bouncing Kessie over some high trees, and he sees one that's definitely too high, and he says, well, I wouldn't want to embarrass the tree by going over it in one go.
Yeah, co-parter, Tigger.
This tree falls down. Tigger is holding on to dear life with Kessie hanging on. They're screaming, Rabbit hears, and Rabbit's on the tree, and he's so high up, like Wile E. Coyote.
The 100-acre wood suddenly has these towering cliffs.
It's amazing. Rabbit gets on the tree, and he's frozen. He's paralyzed with fear. He actually even says, I can't move, which, oh my God, that's so real for a cartoon. So they swing Kessie up. Rabbit's grabbing onto Kessie's wing and is trying to pull her up. And there's this long, long moment. And then finally, Rabbit's hand slips and Kessie just falls. You see this.
And there's no music underneath it. That in itself is really remarkable because so often, especially the early Disney TV animation shows, just slathered every episode with music wall to wall in the background.
Yes.
But in this exact moment, the music cuts out, and you don't even hear a cartoonish whoosh sound effect. You just see Kessie's wings so casually slide from Rabbit's grasp, and that makes it even more intense and chilling.
And then immediately following that moment, Rabbit jumps, gets ready to jump after her, risking his life. The composition in this episode is amazing because it cuts from Rabbit holding his nose, jumping in like he's jumping into water, and it cuts to his legs stopping in midair and going right from there to Tigger holding Rabbit.
Wait a minute, buddy boy. She's gone.
And it's so well done.
Tigger being the one to recognize the insanity of that gesture and save Rabbit's life certainly speaks to how far Rabbit had gone into his emotional
Tigger's
tunnel vision with
the
that.
rational one saying, hey, look, we all have fun here, but this is serious.
Yeah.
And that is not what Tiggers do best.
No.
If this is too intense, here comes Owl to be funny.
Yeah, exactly.
rescuing
Well, I
her.
think that's really cool because maybe some people would argue that relieves the moment too much or it's not taken seriously. I think it's more, this is not where the emotions are. You're not sad for what's happening because Kessie's about to die. It really is this relationship between Rabbit and Kessie that is the true dramatic pull of this. As sad as this moment is, the episode wants to keep reminding you, no, what's really sad about this episode is what's going on between Rabbit and Kessie. And I just think that's so beautiful that it keeps having us refocus on those moments.
And Owl, by the way, is the character I relate to the most.
Me too, sometimes. Although Owl's got less self-awareness than you or I.
I would hope so. Yeah.
When we're blathering on about shit that no one cares about, we at least think in the back of our minds, oh fuck, no one cares about this.
No, you
How do I
both are
reverse
smart.
course?
That's why.
know what you're talking
No. We know ourselves, Madeline. We know ourselves.
Whereas Owl will just go on for days about his Uncle Horatio no one cares about. They should have made a spin-off about his Uncle Horatio. That would have been fun.
We at least seek out friends who will care about the stuff that we blather on about.
Exactly.
And then make podcasts so that we can blather on about them.
And Owl, meanwhile, it looks like he's fucking letting Kessie die because he can't shut the fuck up.
Because he's oblivious.
Showing that tonal change, they go up to Rabbit, and Rabbit's like, Tigger, I never got to tell her I loved her.
Yeah.
I'm gone at that point. I can't.
Good Lord.
And this is, of course, the moment, too, when Kessie comes up and says, I want to learn how to fly. Owl's going to teach me. And Rabbit's like, absolutely not, because Rabbit is so terrified of losing Kessie, who he absolutely loves.
And Rabbit just got traumatized by this event.
As an observer, it seems like parenting is a daily dose of 5 minutes of wonder and appreciation and love for your child, and you can't believe that life is so incredible. And then the rest of the 24 hours are just white-knuckling through bracing yourself for the impending harm that is definitely going to come to your child.
Yep.
I think Rabbit's a great conduit for that.
Which is why so many parents go fucking insane.
What you see as a teen is, God, she never wants me to go to my friend's house.
But what the parent sees is, oh, I did a lot of shit I regret when I went to my friend's house, so I better shield my kid from this, even though it's not going to be the same situation. And your kid's not going to make the same mistakes you did. They're going to make all new ones.
I mean, if they choose to put in an IV of Four Loko, it's out of your control.
They've watered that down. It's basically soda at this point. It's fine.
It's mostly fentanyl and soda.
Well, now I'm picturing Kessie in Cancun just getting blackout drunk. Spring break!
Oh, what do you think she's flying south for?
Yeah.
Keep that thought to the very end of this conversation.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to it later.
I love the little subtler moments of animation in this episode. Like, for example, when Rabbit says, if she were meant to fly south, she'd have wings. And Kessie just kind of looks at her own wings confusedly.
Yes! In that fireplace scene when Kessie calls out to Rabbit, like Rabbit's ear is the first thing that comes up.
Right.
Everything is so intentional. I sound so old, but I do miss this era of animation.
Yeah.
Where we spend a lot of attention on these small details.
Oh, you mean when they looked good?
When they drew.
Yeah.
I think animation is great today, and I'm not one of those people that's like, let's go back to the old ways. I do, though, like the grit and dirt that comes from drawings and
absolutely.
Xerox, some of those line mistakes that get erased now in computers. I don't know. I've always kind of liked that stuff. It gives a character, I think.
Well, speaking of mistakes, I want to briefly point out Kessie is spelled Kessie.
Yes.
But the subtitles on Disney Plus mistakenly list her as Cassie. Cassie. And I checked Disney Wiki. It should be Kessie with a Ke.
As soon as you said that, I was foaming at the mouth because, no, her name has a fucking K in it.
Yeah.
All right, now I'll cancel Disney. Not for any of the other horrible things they've done. Just this one thing.
Price hikes, the anti-union shit, those creepy AI extras, all that you could look the other way on, but you gotta draw the line somewhere.
I let racism slide, but not Cassie. Like, you
Their
let racism
extensive
slide.
collaborations with China are A-okay.
So, of course, the whole year of this episode continues. Spring turns to summer, summer turns to fall.
We do actually get the sense of time passing. We get this moment of summer turning into fall, and we go to Kessie, and you see this depression and the heavy implication that she's just been sad for a whole season. You feel that moment. And she also is bigger in that moment, too. Like, she looks bigger when Rabbit's holding her. The sense of time is so fully realized in this episode. I just think it's so brilliant.
I would like to take a moment to appreciate the Zen wisdom of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yeah.
Normally, Winnie the Pooh is famous for wildly misinterpreting things and having no idea what's going on.
Yeah, just kind of being a dumbass. But in this episode, we get the savant half of Idiot Savant.
Winnie the Pooh's a lot like that in this show, which is why it's such a rewarding watch. You do get stuff that would become Tao of Pooh and things like that.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh is observing this whole situation and really knows what's going on. He knows what Kessie needs.
He fucking gets it, man.
Please don't tell Rabbit I'm learning to fly.
It looks to me as if you're learning to fall.
Not very good, huh?
Oh, no, very good for going down.
What I want to talk about, we've kind of danced around this a little bit, but another very obvious allegory that's going on here, and probably the one that has stood with me since I first watched it, is a parent not letting their kid be who they are.
Right.
That's the very obvious one. Even going beyond growing up or having to leave the nest and all those things, Rabbit is not allowing Kessie to fly, aka Rabbit is not allowing Kessie to be who she is.
Your dad and I had a long talk, and we agreed it would be best for all of us if you just stop being who you are and doing the things you love.
And as, you know, a closeted trans woman who didn't even know she was a trans woman growing up, I 1,000,000,000% related to that and really felt like Kessie. Even back then, I knew there was something different about me or something going on. And my parents, especially my mother, did their hardest to just take any of that uniqueness about myself away to try and make me, quote unquote, normal like them. And Kessie just made so much sense to me. And I couldn't even put it into words. And as I got older, I found like a lot of what happened to Kessie was happening to me. Yeah. My parents have said similar things. The difference is I didn't get a reconciliation with my parents, still haven't. I guess knock on wood on that one. But I was her. Like, I felt like Kessie.
You instinctively saw that there's nothing anyone else can do. This bird is this bird.
I don't know who wrote this episode or what their story is. I think
it was kind of done by committee, like a lot of these things.
Yeah, there's 3 writers attached to this.
One of the other things I love is how it chooses to express the emotions of the characters and what's going on. Instead of showing a person saying a line, they'll point to someone's reaction to that line. For me, the most devastating moment of this is the slingshot thing where Rabbit gets shot over and Kessie saves him.
Oh boy, kiddo, there's nothing holding you down now. Don't you think I know?
We hear Rabbit's voice in the background, and we see Kessie reacting to that in real time. And okay, maybe it's to save money on lip syncing, but you really do feel that moment because you see someone reacting to it.
Yeah, and then that leads to the scene I thought was the most emotional, where Kessie's about to leave the next day and comes to Rabbit and says, "Will you read me a bedtime story one last time?" And he's too depressed to do it.
You don't need me to read you a bedtime story. You don't need me for anything.
And then she cries.
Yeah.
Just because of how sad she's made it.
We don't even see her cry. That's what's so amazing to me. We just see the back of her and we hear her cry.
Just that shot of Kessie in the rocking chair.
God, yes.
Back to the camera with the roaring fire in the background, and you just hear her crying her eyes out. It almost looks like a shot from fucking Citizen Kane or something.
It was so dramatic.
I think it's because we don't see her face that it leads us to like imagine how horrible she must feel. I feel like this episode does that a lot. When emotions get that big, we don't get to really see it. And it cuts to Rabbit hearing that. We see his reaction to it. And I'm like, that's so beautiful.
It is.
It's devastating is what it is. Beautifully devastating.
I feel like it's something that's missing from a lot of media like this. How important seeing other people reacting to lines and emotions are. It's not just the person talking.
And it's especially important in children's entertainment because that's how they get it visually.
Yeah.
You can say all the words you want. What's going to stick stick in that kid's mind is how sad the character looked.
Yes.
It's very emotional and relatable because I think we've all had that moment where we've had a conflict or an argument with a loved one, be it a parent or someone else, and it's not that you're mad at them necessarily. You think you're correct. You don't want to budge in whatever your stance is, but you're sad about that emotional conflict. You just want to have a good relationship.
The big sin that Rabbit commits throughout the episode, really all the mistakes that Rabbit makes in regards to Kessie, fall under the umbrella of Rabbit is making it about him.
Him?
Yes.
He's making it about himself. When he says, does it mean more to you than I do? I don't think Rabbit even realizes how emotionally manipulative he's being.
No.
He's holding up his relationship with his adopted daughter as something that's at stake when it shouldn't be. No parent should ever do that, but unfortunately some do. And I understand that impulse when you're at the end of your rope and you're not gonna get what you want and your last fucking gambit is, well, what if I just fucking shoot myself? I've been a troubled teen before. But when a parent is doing that and framing the good relationship they have with their kids as something that might go away if the kid doesn't do what they say, that's emotional manipulation. Even in the really sad scene that we were talking about, what Rabbit's saying is, well, you don't need me for anything anymore, so he's still making it about himself.
Because he's giving that ultimatum, which is so awful. Like, you could either have me as your loved one, or you can be yourself. Especially people in the LGBT community, I feel like we can really relate to that.
A lot of people can relate to that. I mean, just from bitter experience, I've learned when someone you love is forcing you to choose between two different people or things you love, you should choose whoever isn't making you choose.
Yes.
Yes.
Decision made.
Took me a long time to learn that lesson.
I think we've all been in a situation where that logic applies at some point in our lives.
I wasted a fucking decade of my life not doing the right thing in that regard. We're all getting so personal here. This is a group therapy session.
It is that kind of episode. Yeah.
I wish we were in person so we could all hug it out.
Aw, I'll hug you next time I see you.
Okay.
We've all experienced these feelings or dated Rabbit at some point.
Yes.
It's going to come up.
Or have been Rabbit.
Or
have been Rabbit in a dating relationship, which is the most personal I'm going to get here.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
I have regrets.
Who's the rabbit in the relationship is such a rude thing to ask straight out, but you know, we all wonder.
It's important. It's an important question.
And when you date a rabbit, at least you know they fuck. Anyway.
Got a thing for rabbits, huh?
I know the voice of Kessie is kind of a famous child actress.
Oh.
I believe her name is Laura Mooney, I want to say.
Laura Mooney, okay.
She was in the Twilight Zone movie as one of the kids that the old people turn into.
Oh, okay.
I didn't ask to be young again. All I want to do is dance. I can be old and dance.
She was the princess in the Little Nemo movie.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah, I like that movie. Come on. But anyway.
I only saw it once when I was a kid. I barely remember anything about it. All I know is that fucking everyone worked on it at some point. They had many people attached to it that came and went. It was ridiculous. Anyway.
I think that she does a phenomenal job voicing Kessie.
She does.
One of my personal favorite voice acting performances of all time. The cries and screams of Kessie are lodged into my brain for the rest of my life. Just that sound of her laughing and talking, it's so distinct and it's so emotional. When Kessie cries at the end, it feels so real and it's just so impactful.
Well, this episode apparently first aired February 7th, 1988, which means they would have been working on it in 87. Laura Mooney, according to IMDb, was born in 1976, so she was 11 years old recording this amazing part. And one thing that really impressed me is how legitimately different the voice is between baby Kessie and older Kessie in spring and summer. They're very distinct takes on the same voice. It impresses me that an 11-year-old actress could have that kind of range.
It's so incredible.
Speaking of voice actors, I noticed the original voice of Tigger, Paul Winchell, was still voicing Tigger in this episode.
Oh, this was before Jim Cummings took over?
Yeah, I actually did a bit of research to try to pinpoint exactly when the changeover happened, and apparently it was a little erratic. For about a decade, basically Paul Winchell did it whenever he was available and feeling up for it, and whenever he wasn't, they just got Jim.
Eeyore wasn't in this episode.
Eeyore
No,
wasn't.
he wasn't.
Unfortunate.
Maybe he would have made this episode a little too depressing.
Yes, exactly.
We've already got these emotional depths. We don't need to throw fucking Eeyore in
Yeah,
there.
Cassie's like, I'm so sad. And Eeyore's like, yeah, you should probably kill yourself, Cassie.
And we're probably lucky that Gopher wasn't in it too, because it would be, oh, let me teach you to blow stuff up, Cassie.
Like I said, there's more cartoony violence. A lot more things explode in this show than I remember exploding in the earlier shorts.
It focuses more on the animals themselves over Christopher Robin.
Right.
There are episodes with Christopher Robin in the show.
Yeah, he's in that painting that played over the end credits of him and Pooh.
Oh, yeah.
But it is mostly just Winnie the Pooh and his friends in the 100-Acre Wood, which I think allows for more kind of wacky and zany adventures.
I think as a kid, I interpreted this show as taking place after the other shorts, after the 1977 film.
Sure.
Christopher Robin is in school, and this is what they do while he's in school.
I do like that it does give a sense of reality to these characters, because it's often argued, is this all in Christopher Robin's imagination? Are these characters actually real or not? Rabbit does this whole adventure with Kessie. If Christopher Robin imagined this, he needs therapy right the fuck now. We get to see them as real animals.
Although, if these are real animals, I have questions.
Real stuffed animals.
Did anyone else ever find it weird that Owl was awake in the daytime?
That's true.
I think the fanon has become, some of them are stuffed animals and others of them are real animals.
Oh my goodness, like Owl?
They kind of made this their interpretation in the Christopher Robin live action film. Owl and Rabbit and Gopher, they're drawn like real animals. They're not drawn with stitches and so forth.
No, Rabbit is a stuffed animal. At least in the show, they make that clear in at least one episode.
This is how my way too literal brain works. At the end, I was thinking, so does Owl migrate or not? Because if he does, why isn't he flying south with Kessie?
I don't think owls migrate. I don't know
looked
about
this up.
that.
Some breeds of owls do. Some don't.
I don't think Owl's been anywhere beyond his treehouse, and I think that's why he's so funny.
Yeah, what did he mean by give my regards to everyone down south if he doesn't migrate?
He has 1 million family members, and they're all over the world, but who fucking knows?
Maybe Owl had a wild past south of the equator.
And then you just realize they're fucking children's toys, Tony. Fucking relax.
You know, Winnie the Pooh wears a shirt. That's not something bears do normally. That's a little excessive.
Animals don't talk. I hope someone got fired for that blunder.
Kessie is about to leave for the winter. Everything's coming full circle.
Tigger was maybe getting a little aggressive, asking for that smooch at the end from Kessie.
Well, that's just one of those modern
also,
things.
Tigger is gay and asexual, so there is no foul play, pun intended, going on.
That tracks perfectly for me.
My favorite Pooh moment in this episode is when Kessie's about to fly away. Will you tell Rabbit I'll never forget him? Oh, yes, I'll tell Rabbit, he is useless for any communication.
Silly old bear.
Rabbit's not there to say goodbye, and people think, oh, maybe Rabbit's just busy with his garden, when Rabbit's just trying to get there as fast as he can with the carrot.
Right.
Which he finds by stubbing his toe on it, which is how he first finds it.
Of course.
Again, this is a brilliant cartoon. Nothing is wasted in this cartoon.
Yep.
And of course, he doesn't quite make it. Kessie leaves, and he's too late, and God, he says another devastating line.
I changed my mind. You can fly. Just don't go away, Kessie.
Oh, that hurt.
Yeah,
That
it really
hurt.
shows what Rabbit's fear was. Rabbit didn't want to be alone. Rabbit didn't want to lose Kessie in his mind. And that's what led him to make all of these bad decisions.
Yeah.
Thankfully, because I would just be dead if it didn't happen, Kessie does come back, and they do get to say goodbye.
Maybe this is just because I'm a cynical bastard, but I honestly don't think that was the best way to end this. I get it. I get that this is a kids show. I get that they needed to have the full-on, no ambiguity whatsoever, happy ending of Kessie and Rabbit reconnecting one last time before he lets her go.
Yeah.
But when we reach that moment where Rabbit's desperately yelling, "You can fly, just don't go away," I was honestly saying, you know, you kind of did this to yourself, Rabbit, by making it about yourself this whole time. I knew that Kessie was gonna come back and they were gonna have the final thing because it's a kid's show, but I think it would have been, in some ways, an even stronger ending if they didn't just let Rabbit off the hook like that, quite frankly.
I think there's an argument for that, and I definitely see what you're saying.
And again, I get it. This is a Winnie the Pooh kids show on ABC Saturday morning. You gotta make it a happy ending.
He still sits with the loss while she's gone.
I think there are different takeaways between those endings. I do obviously like the happy ending because that's the kind of person I am.
On a visceral level.
I think if Kessie didn't come back, I would have just ran away from home at that moment. So that probably kept a lot of kids safe.
Yeah, Soul Asylum would have had to make a whole new video for all the runaway kids.
We would have ran the runaway train. Yeah. Absolutely. As bad as Rabbit is, and as hard as the relationship between Kessie and Rabbit got, I do think there was real love here between a parental figure and a child.
There really is.
That's not always realistic. Again, like I talked about earlier, why I have not had a similar, unfortunately, nice moment with my own parents, but I think it's nice because she still does leave.
Yeah.
I think that's what's really important. She's still gone by the end of the episode, but Rabbit does get that little sense of hope. It's not even saying that everything's fixed, but there's potential for growth.
And at the end, the final words of wisdom come from Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my God.
Sometimes people care too much. I think it's called love.
It's so beautiful.
And it's true. I mean, it's a cliche, but oftentimes love hurts. Even when Rabbit's being selfish in this episode, he's being selfish out of love for Kessie, and he honestly can't even tell how much he's damaging her.
It leads to like the other cliche, which is that love means knowing when to say goodbye, when to let go.
Like Sting said, if you love someone, set them free.
That's right.
We're just...
Don't stand so close to me.
Well, Murder by Numbers 1, 2, 3. It's
Walking on the moon!
That final shot of Rabbit just looking up at the sky.
With the carrot that Kessie grew.
Yeah. That magic hour lighting of dusk. My poor heart. What are these feelings you humans call emotions?
There are so many great pieces of animation in this series, especially in the first season. If you liked this episode, this is the pinnacle. I do think this is the best episode of the show, but the rest are pretty fucking make me cry too. There is a lot of really good stuff in this series, and I think it's incredibly underrated.
You said there's a sequel to this episode?
There is. I mentioned earlier that I had bought a DVD of a compilation movie that had this episode.
Yeah, I looked this up. It was called Winnie the Pooh Seasons of Giving.
They showed the short, and at the end of the short, they go back to the compilation setup, and Rabbit says, and that was the last time I ever saw her. And I stood up and said, no, that is not true. Kessie comes back a couple of seasons later as an older bird with a completely new 90s era look.
What?
If you look up pictures of Kessie in the sequel episode, it is a trip.
I'm looking it up right now. Oh, God.
Yeah, they give her boobs. I don't know why they do that.
Don't scroll down Google of Kessie images for too long.
God.
No, why?
In fact,
no!
don't scroll down for very long at all.
Hold on, I have to delete Google from the world right now.
I just found an image that will harm Madeline.
No.
I will not show it to you.
The plot of this episode is another kind of old trope. The kid coming back from college and the parents still treating her like a baby. And she's like, well, I'm an adult now. I'm too old for these things.
Tessie, dear, it's going to be just like old times.
I'm too old for old times. I'm grown up.
Of course you are, dear. I just love it when you pretend you're a big girl.
I argue there's not a bad episode of New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, but there are lesser episodes.
And there's a reason you picked this one instead of the sequel.
Yes, exactly.
We should also point out, Kessie also became a recurring character on the series The Book of Pooh.
Yes.
A Playhouse Disney series from the early 2000s, which we've actually covered on this podcast in one of our very first episodes, episode 6, I want to say. And I think a big reason Kessie was expanded into a main character on Book of Pooh was someone realized, look, the only female character we've got is Kanga, which does kind of make sense since ostensibly these are supposed to be all stories being made up by Christopher Robin, and little boys do tend to flat out ignore that girls exist.
I think it also shows the power of this episode with Kessie.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from Gopher, I think Kessie is the best original creation that's not in the books.
Right.
It really is just amazing to me that an 80s TV show of Winnie the Pooh created one of the best Winnie the Pooh stories, period. I've read the books. The books are also really good. But the fact that this exists in a system that was made purely to be capitalistic. Oh, everyone loves Winnie the Pooh. We're selling these bears like hotcakes. Let's make a show. The fact that something like this came out of it, I just think is so incredible and so beautiful.
Also, I think it's worth highlighting, this was episode 4.
Yes.
Even the best shows of all time usually take a season or two to really find their footing and start cranking out the good shit. This show only took till episode 4 to produce this masterpiece. That's really impressive.
I want to say thank you all so much for going on this journey with me and experiencing my favorite thing in the world.
Aw.
Renie, you kind of joked about this at the beginning, but I do hope you know more about me now after watching this episode.
I think I do, Madeline.
Certainly after listening to this podcast episode, we know basically your whole life story now.
This is the thing that I cannot live without. So I'm really glad that we all were here to experience the most emotional thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Well, I do believe the time has come to answer that question that has baffled mankind and Kessie-kind through the ages, namely, what's the attraction? So, like we were talking about, there has been a lot of Winnie the Pooh representation at the parks. Every Disney resort except Paris has a Winnie the Pooh ride. Tokyo has a whole Winnie the Pooh e-ticket, Pooh's Honey Hunt.
Even Shanghai has some Winnie the Pooh attractions, despite it being basically outlawed over there.
Yeah, despite it being against the fucking law. But, of course, now that everyone's going to remember what a masterpiece this episode was.
Yes! Oh my god, I'm going to cry.
And it's going to be the most watched thing ever on Disney+.
I hope that happens.
Disney's going to need to work this episode specifically into the parks. How are they going to do that, Renie?
You know how Disney loves suing anybody who F's with the mouse?
Yep.
Well, daycares have been getting away with this too long. So Disneyland is going to have the abandoned daycare ride with bootleg Winnie the Pooh paintings. Winnie the Pooh has a tail. Piglet has 3 eyes.
Is the third eye on his forehead like Doctor Strange?
If you could even call it that.
All-seeing Piglet, all-knowing.
Maybe they're on his hands like the Thin Man from Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, that'd be creepy.
They gave all of the eyes big eyelashes, or else the children won't know what gender they decided Piglet was.
Mm-hmm.
And daycares are already equipped with little tiny toilets. So when parents get tired and don't want to stand in a line anymore, they can go to the abandoned daycare ride where the kids can relieve themselves under the watchful eyes of non-copyright Disney purchased characters.
Where is Kessie in this terrifying Silent Hill style attraction that you've created?
Kessie is actually Cassie because it's a bootleg. And she's green.
So Disney Plus subtitles just come from the bootleg.
Yes.
Chris.
They're going to overhaul the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh attraction. You're going to be riding the Honey Pot or the Beehive, whichever coast you're on, the whole time. What you're not going to realize is the ride vehicle is mounted on an Intamin cable-launched accelerator coaster. You're going to enter a long stretch where there's a big rubber band that gets extended over the ride vehicle. And you're going to forget about this rubber band because a very, very emotional scene is going to play out between Rabbit and Kessie right in front of you, and there's going to be tears in your eyes, and then Tigger's going to release the rubber band, and you're going to launch 0 to 100 miles per hour and go over a massive top hat element.
Madeline?
Just give me an animatronic Kessie on the ride. That's all I want. You don't have to do anything else. You can even do a fucking statue. I'd like it to be an animatronic, but if it's just a statue and she's waving, that's all I want. Disney, please just do that.
Well, unfortunately, you're all wrong.
I hate that so much.
Now, a while back, from about 1998 to 2011, the Florida version of the Enchanted Tiki Room turned into the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management, where they got these really bad animatronics of Iago and Zazu to take over the Tiki Room and meld it to their liking, and they upset the Tiki gods. It was not a very good show.
I love where this is going.
And when there was a fire in the Tiki Room in the early 2010s, they didn't even bother repairing under new management. They just brought back the original. But what they are going to do now is turn the Enchanted Tiki Room into the Enchanted Kessie Room.
Oh my god!
And every last bird will be an animatronic of Kessie.
Oh my God!
In the Kessie room, in the Kessie room, we'll traumatize Rabbit when we fall to our doom in the Kessie room.
I'm fucking crying. I want that so bad.
Okay, can there be an intermission that's a year?
Yes. You have to come back a year later for the second half of the attraction. So, final verdict, folks. I most definitely don't even have to ask, but I will anyway. Is The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Season 1, Episode 4, Find Her, Keep Her, a Disney Plus or a Disney Minus? Madeline, it's your guest choice.
Wouldn't that be funny if this was the longest con in the world? This is a 4-year-long con I've been doing.
Oh, it sucks. Are you kidding? Fucking bullshit.
Not only is this a Disney Plus or a Disney Plus Plus, this is, to me, as important as anything else I've ever seen. Please watch it. I do think it's incredible. And then watch the rest of the show. I am not the same. I think this show opened something deep inside of me that I needed to hear at a very crucial time, that I continued to need to hear year after year after year to feel better. And finally, just like Kessie, I also did get to fly at some point, so I'm really happy.
Chris, plus or minus?
This is a Disney Plus. It is an excellent piece of 22-minute storytelling, very mature, very emotional. I would say the whole show is a Disney Plus as well, but this episode in particular probably stands as one of the series' best.
Renie!
Well, it's no Coco Melon. I mean, it's a Disney Plus, and it's a bittersweet plus because I wish small children were exposed to this content consistently, because preschool age entertainment is all so fast, and there's lots of loud noises and mugging. And this is just such a beautiful piece of art. And I wish all children's entertainment was even close to this level.
Well, it is absolutely unanimous. This is a huge Disney Plus for me. Like I said, I definitely saw this episode several times when I was a kid, and it didn't leave no impression on me. Like I said, there were some individual moments that I remembered, but I guess I didn't quite grasp the full depth of what the episode meant until watching it just now, because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and holy shit does it hit differently when you've physically outgrown childhood, if not altogether mentally. Big old Disney Plus, great episode, all hail Kessie. Who's got stuff to plug?
I have no plugs. I have nothing to plug right now.
You can find me on Instagram at Renie_Rivas, RENIE_Rivas, RIVAS. I'm not down with the Twitter anymore, so that's probably a good home base. Oh wait, X formerly known as Twitter.
I'll be dead in the cold ground before I call it X.
It is actually okay to dead name X and call it Twitter.
Yes.
We all got together and said it was fine. I have a YouTube channel now, Madeline Maye. I have a single on Bandcamp called Try, also under Madeline Maye. I'm on Twitter as Friendly Catwife, and I'm on OnlyFans as Friendlier Catwife.
And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Tony Goldmark, and you can also follow this show on Twitter at EFVD Podcast. I've also got a Facebook fan group you can join called Some Jerk with a Fan Club, and I've got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tony Goldmark, where you can find all 3 seasons of my web series, Some Jerk with a Camera, along with a bunch of other videos about movies and theme parks, and even a few scant episodes of this very podcast. You can find every episode of this podcast at pipedreampodcast.com, as well as all the usual outlets like Audible, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. If you like what you've been hearing and you'd like to help us out, please subscribe, please leave a review, please give us 5 stars, please share with your friends and enemies. All that stuff helps us get discovered by the almighty algorithm. If you'd like to help us out even more, you can donate to my Patreon, patreon.com/Tony Goldmark, where if you pledge any amount, even the bare minimum of $1 a month, you get to hear new episodes of this podcast ad-free and 1 day early. Once again, that's patreon.com/Tony Goldmark. Special thanks to all my patrons. You don't know how much it means to me. And also, once again, a very special thanks to you, Madeline Maye, for choosing the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh Season 1, Episode 4, Find Her, Keep Her, as your guest choice.
Thank you. I've been waiting my entire life to talk about this, so I'm so happy I got to.
Next week, we will have an extremely belated Halloween episode for you fine folks, where we feed our special Halloween shortlist into the randomizer, and I am now joined by one of my very special guests on next week's episode, Haley Baker Callahan. How you doing, Haley?
Spookylicious.
Are you ready to read off the randomizer's pick for our first Halloween episode of 2023?
Heck yeah.
Okay, Smart House, initiate random shuffle mode, please.
Initiating random shuffle mode.
Make a selection.
And the winner is...
Frankenweenie 1984.
Frankenweenie 1984. All right. Join us next week on a very spooky belated Halloween episode of Escape from Walt Disney when we will cover the original 1984 Frankenweenie.
Come on home where your video's playing. Good times are waiting, it's true. Come where your family is waiting for Walt Disney and you. Walt Disney and you. Walt Disney and you.
Are you all right, Rabbit?
No, and I don't plan on being all right for a very long time to come.